Ladies and gentlemen, let me start by asking you a question. When was the last time you truly focused on yourself? I don't mean checking the mirror to see if your clothes are on point or reviewing your social media to see if you got enough likes. I mean focusing on the deepest part of who you are, your growth, your potential, your dreams. When was the last time you put the work in, not for someone else, but for you? So many of us get caught up in the noise of the world, chasing approval, running after validation, or comparing ourselves to others. But if you want to unlock your fullest potential, you have to shift that focus. You have to put your energy into improving yourself, not because someone else told you to, but because you deserve to grow into the best version of who you are meant to be. Every day holds a new opportunity for growth, but the reality is that most people fail to fully grasp the power of small, consistent actions. One of the most crucial elements in self-improvement is the understanding that investing in yourself is not just about one grand gesture, but about the small, everyday choices that slowly build toward the person you want to become. Too often we think of progress as something that should happen overnight, but true transformation occurs when you make the decision to dedicate yourself bit by bit to your own development. It's the accumulation of these small efforts that will eventually lead to major strides. This commitment to daily growth is essential because it's easy to overlook the little things. We tend to want immediate results and can get discouraged when change doesn't happen as quickly as we expect. But every time you take an action to improve, whether it's reading for 15 minutes, practicing a new skill, or meditating for a few minutes, you are laying down the foundation for long-term success. These small actions, when done consistently, begin to compound. The person you are today is the result of the decisions you've made up until this point. The person you will be tomorrow is shaped by the choices you make today. The power of investing in yourself daily isn't just about the physical actions you take, but about cultivating the right mindset. It's about learning to value your own growth enough to make it a priority. Too often, we get caught up in our busy lives and neglect the internal work that's needed to grow. We spend time taking care of everyone else, but when it comes to ourselves, we put it off for another day. But the reality is, you cannot pour from an empty cup. Investing in yourself means recognizing that self-care and development are just as important, if not more, than the things that seem urgent in the moment. Taking small, intentional steps every day means you're creating habits that will serve you long-term. Habits form the foundation of success. Whether you're building healthier routines, improving your skill set, or focusing on your mental and emotional well-being, these habits will eventually carry you toward the person you aspire to be. The key is not to look for big leaps, but rather to appreciate the small improvements. If you aim to be 1% better every day, over time, those 1% gains will add up to something extraordinary. It's also crucial to recognize that investing in yourself is not always a smooth, linear path. Some days will feel like a struggle. You might question whether it's worth it, especially when the results aren't immediately apparent. But it's on those difficult days that the real growth happens. The small steps that feel insignificant at the moment are the building blocks of resilience, perseverance, and consistency. They're the silent drivers of your progress. Even when it seems like nothing is changing, trust that you are moving forward. Success is not about immediate, visible outcomes. It's about the long-term effect of consistent effort. One of the challenges with self-investment is that it requires patience. In a world where instant gratification is constantly available at our fingertips, it can be frustrating to wait for the results of your hard work. However, it's important to remember that the most rewarding achievements take time. The changes you're making today may not bear fruit immediately, but they will eventually. It's like planting a seed. You don't see the tree grow overnight, but over time, that seed you planted will turn into something strong and lasting. By choosing to invest in yourself every day, you are setting the stage for continual growth. Success doesn't just happen by chance. It's the result of dedicated, intentional effort. It might seem like a slow process at first, but over time, you'll see the compounded results of your daily choices. Each day is a building block. The more you invest in your growth, the more equipped you become to handle life's challenges, the more capable you are of achieving your goals, and the more aligned you will be with your purpose. Growth and success are not found in the comfort zone. It's easy to stay where things feel safe and familiar, but real progress happens when you push yourself beyond those boundaries. To truly grow, you must embrace discomfort. It's in those uncomfortable moments when things don't feel quite right, when you're uncertain or challenged, that the most valuable lessons are learned. Growth does not happen when you are cruising along effortlessly. It happens when you step outside your normal routine and face something unfamiliar or difficult. Think about the times in your life when you've grown the most. It wasn't when you were sitting back feeling relaxed and at ease. It was during those tough moments when you had to dig deep, when you were forced to rise to the occasion. Whether it was taking on a new responsibility at work, pushing yourself to finish a tough project, or trying something for the first time, those moments of discomfort sparked your growth. You had to confront your fears, test your limits, and face challenges that seemed overwhelming. But it was in those moments that you learned more about your strength, your resilience, and your capabilities than you ever would have in a comfortable setting. The human brain is wired to seek comfort, to avoid pain, and to stay in familiar environments. This survival instinct has served us well throughout history, but it can also hold us back when it comes to personal development. We need discomfort in order to stretch ourselves, to test our potential, and to uncover new layers of who we are. If you only ever choose what feels safe, you limit your growth potential. The truth is, the moment you start seeking comfort, you stop growing. It's the willingness to face uncertainty and push past it that leads to true transformation. When you step into discomfort, you challenge your current level of competence. If everything you do feels easy, chances are you're not improving. Growth is about increasing your skill set, expanding your knowledge, and learning to adapt to new situations. When things get tough, it forces you to think in new ways. You may not have the answers immediately, but that's the beauty of the process. It's through this struggle that you develop new strengths, build confidence, and acquire the tools you need to handle future challenges. Moreover, discomfort fosters resilience. The more you face it, the better you become at handling life's obstacles. You learn to persevere, to keep going even when the situation seems impossible. This doesn't mean you won't feel fear or doubt. It means that you develop the inner strength to move forward despite those feelings. Each time you push through discomfort, you expand your capacity to face even bigger challenges ahead. Over time, you begin to see discomfort not as something to avoid, but as something to embrace, knowing that it's leading you to growth. Growth through discomfort also has a powerful effect on your mindset. It trains you to see failure not as a reason to stop, but as a learning experience. If you never stretch yourself, you'll never fail. But without failure, there's no real learning. It's in those moments of struggle that you find out who you truly are, how resilient you can be, and how resourceful you can get. Each time you fail and get back up, you become stronger. It's this cycle of challenge, failure, and recovery that ultimately shapes your growth. When discomfort becomes a part of your daily routine, it stops feeling like a threat. Instead, you start to recognize it for what it really is, an opportunity. The discomfort is your teacher. It's showing you where you can grow, where your weaknesses lie, and where your potential is waiting to be unlocked. Instead of running from it, you learn to lean into it. You trust that by doing so, you're forging the path to becoming a better, more capable version of yourself. One of the most important aspects of embracing discomfort is the courage to take risks. It's about choosing to go after something that excites you, even though you may not know exactly how it will turn out. It's about putting yourself in situations that stretch your abilities, where the outcome is uncertain. This is where true innovation happens. Many of the world's greatest achievers took risks and ventured into the unknown, and it was through those uncomfortable moments that they achieved greatness. When you embrace discomfort, you embrace the process of becoming your best self. It's not about avoiding the challenges or the struggle, but about seeing them as integral parts of your growth journey. Every time you push through that discomfort, you build the mental and emotional muscle necessary to overcome even greater challenges in the future. It's this process of continual growth, fueled by discomfort, that ultimately leads to a life of progress and achievement. Believing in your potential is the most powerful force that can drive your success. It's easy to get caught up in the external world, the opinions of others, the standards set by society, or the success stories of people around you. But what truly defines your journey is the belief you have in yourself. When you genuinely believe in your potential, you unlock the ability to push through challenges, take risks, and keep moving forward, even when things seem impossible. Often, the most significant barrier between where you are and where you want to be is the belief that you are capable of achieving your goals. Many people struggle because they don't see themselves as worthy or capable of greatness. They may be talented, hardworking, or driven, but if they don't believe in their potential, they limit themselves before they even start. The most successful people aren't necessarily the ones with the most talent or resources. They're the ones who believe that they can overcome any obstacle, learn from their mistakes, and keep evolving. This belief in yourself is what fuels persistence. Life is full of obstacles, setbacks, and moments when it feels easier to give up than to keep going. But when you believe in your potential, you understand that these challenges are temporary and that your ability to adapt and grow is infinite. Every obstacle is simply a lesson in disguise, a chance to learn something new and become stronger. It's not about avoiding failure, but about knowing that you can overcome it. This mindset allows you to keep moving forward even when you face setbacks, because you understand that these are just stepping stones toward your ultimate success. One of the key elements of believing in your potential is trusting in your ability to learn. No one starts as an expert, but with dedication and a belief in your capacity to grow, you can acquire the skills necessary to succeed. When you trust in your potential, you are open to learning, even from your mistakes. You're not discouraged by the fact that you don't have all the answers right away, because you know that you will figure things out as you go. This trust allows you to embrace challenges instead of avoiding them, and to take on new experiences that might seem daunting at first. Believing in your ability to learn gives you the confidence to push through uncertainty, knowing that each experience, no matter how difficult, is helping you get closer to your goals. A crucial part of believing in your potential is not just about positive thinking, but about action. It's one thing to say you believe in yourself, but it's another to take the necessary steps to prove it to yourself. Self-belief must be paired with consistent action. When you take action, you begin to prove to yourself that you are capable of achieving your dreams. Each small step forward, no matter how insignificant it may seem, reinforces your belief in your own abilities. Action turns belief into reality. Without it, even the strongest belief will remain just a thought, but when it's backed by action, you begin to manifest the success you desire. Belief in yourself also requires a willingness to confront your doubts and fears. We all have moments of insecurity. Even the most successful people have moments where they question their abilities or wonder if they are on the right path. But believing in your potential means that you don't allow those doubts to define you. Instead, you acknowledge them, challenge them, and continue moving forward. You learn to recognize the difference between fear and fact, understanding that fear is often an illusion that fades when you face it head on. The more you confront your doubts, the stronger your belief in your ability to succeed becomes. This belief in your potential doesn't just affect your own actions, it influences how others perceive you as well. People are naturally drawn to those who exude confidence and self-belief. When you believe in yourself, others are more likely to believe in you too. They see your determination, your resilience, and your drive, and they want to be a part of your journey. This positive energy can open doors, create opportunities, and build valuable relationships that will support you in achieving your goals. Another important aspect of believing in your potential is understanding that it's a journey, not a destination. There will be times when you feel as though you're not progressing fast enough or that your efforts are falling short. But believing in your potential means acknowledging that growth takes time and that each step forward, no matter how small, is part of a much larger picture. It's not about getting everything right immediately. It's about the process of becoming better every single day. Trusting in your potential is a long-term commitment to yourself. And even when the results are not immediately visible, you know that you are moving in the right direction. In the end, believing in your potential is the foundation of all achievement. Without that belief, it's easy to be discouraged by the setbacks or the time it takes to see results. But with the unwavering belief that you can succeed no matter the obstacles, you'll find the courage to keep pushing forward, to keep evolving, and to keep working toward your goals. You'll stop seeing challenges as barriers and start seeing them as opportunities to prove to yourself just how capable you truly are. Failure is often viewed as something to be avoided at all costs, something that signifies defeat or incompetence. But in reality, failure is one of the most powerful tools for growth. It's not the absence of failure that defines success, but the ability to learn from it and move forward stronger. Each failure you encounter offers a lesson, an opportunity to understand what didn't work, to adjust your approach, and to prepare for a more successful attempt in the future. If you never fail, it means you're never taking risks or pushing yourself outside your comfort zone, and that in itself is a failure to grow. The fear of failure can hold you back in countless ways. It can prevent you from taking that first step toward a dream because you're worried about what might go wrong. It can make you play it safe, settling for less than what you're truly capable of. But when you shift your perspective on failure, you realize that it's not something to be feared but embraced. It's not something that defines you as a person. Rather, it's an event or outcome that provides valuable feedback for your journey. Failure is simply a stepping stone on the road to success, a necessary part of the process that shows you the areas that need improvement and refinement. Every time you fail, you are given a chance to reevaluate your approach. You might not see it immediately, especially in the heat of the moment, but failure forces you to take a closer look at what went wrong. It gives you clarity and insight into the gaps in your knowledge, skills, or strategy. If you fail at something, you have an opportunity to analyze the situation, learn from the mistake, and try again with newfound wisdom. It's in this process of reflection and adaptation that growth occurs. Without failure, you would never have the insight needed to make the adjustments that will lead to future success. What's crucial to understand about failure is that it doesn't define your worth. So often, people tie their self-worth to their achievements or lack thereof. They believe that a failure means they are not good enough or that they are incapable of succeeding. But this couldn't be further from the truth. Failure is not an indication of your potential, it's a part of your journey. It doesn't take away from your abilities or your value as a person. In fact, it highlights your determination to keep going. The most successful people in the world have faced multiple failures. What sets them apart is their ability to bounce back and learn from those failures rather than letting them stop them in their tracks. The ability to fail and try again is a skill in itself. It requires resilience, patience, and emotional strength to keep going after a setback. Every failure teaches you how to handle disappointment, how to manage your emotions, and how to stay focused on the long-term goal, not the temporary setback. This resilience is a crucial component of success because life will never go exactly as planned. You will face unforeseen challenges, obstacles, and moments of failure. But if you have cultivated the ability to learn from those experiences and keep pushing forward, you will continue to grow and eventually reach your goals. One of the reasons people avoid failure is the fear of judgment from others. No one wants to be seen as a failure, especially in a world where success is celebrated and failure is often stigmatized. But the truth is, everyone experiences failure at some point. The difference lies in how we respond to it. Those who grow from their failures are the ones who don't let the opinions of others dictate their progress. They understand that everyone's journey is different and that failures are simply part of the path to success. When you learn to detach your sense of self from the fear of failure, you free yourself to take the risks necessary for growth and achievement. Failure also teaches you humility. It reminds you that no matter how skilled or prepared you may be, there is always something new to learn. It keeps you grounded and prevents you from becoming complacent. When you succeed without experiencing failure, it's easy to assume that you've mastered everything. But failure humbles you, reminding you that there is always room to improve, that there is always more to learn. It encourages you to stay curious, to continue developing, and to never stop striving for better. Ultimately, failure is not something to be feared or avoided, it's something to be embraced as an essential part of the growth process. The more you learn to see failure as an opportunity rather than a setback, the more you will grow. Each failure adds to your resilience, builds your knowledge, and brings you one step closer to success. The road to achievement is never a straight path, and it's filled with twists, turns, and bumps along the way. But if you can look at each failure as a lesson, a necessary part of your journey, you will continue moving forward stronger and more prepared than before. The decision to take action is often the hardest part of any journey. We spend so much time planning, thinking, and waiting for the right moment, but the truth is that there will never be a perfect time to start. The key to success lies in your willingness to take that first step, to commit to action now, rather than waiting for everything to line up perfectly. Waiting for the ideal circumstances often leads to endless delays, missed opportunities, and a life full of what-ifs. The time to act is always now, and it's through action that you transform your dreams into reality. When you commit to action, you're moving forward, regardless of how small the steps may be. The process of achieving your goals doesn't require huge leaps all at once. It's about consistent, focused movement. Whether you're taking a big risk or simply making a minor change, each step forward is progress. The journey is rarely a straight line, but each action you take, no matter how seemingly insignificant, is a piece of the puzzle. Over time, these small steps add up, compounding into significant progress that takes you closer to where you want to be. One of the most powerful reasons to take action now is that it creates momentum. Once you begin, even with small efforts, you start to gain a sense of forward movement. This momentum builds upon itself, making it easier to take the next step and the next. The hardest part is always the beginning, but once you start, the inertia of your actions carries you forward. The more you act, the more you'll see results, and those results will fuel your desire to keep moving. Momentum is a driving force in the pursuit of success, and it can only be created by taking that first step and continuing to act. On the flip side, hesitation is one of the biggest barriers to progress. The longer you wait, the more likely you are to second-guess yourself or fall into a pattern of indecision. You may think that waiting will lead to a better outcome, but in reality, it usually only leads to stagnation. Inaction breeds doubt, while action breeds confidence. The more you act, the more you learn about yourself and the situation you're facing. With every decision you make, you gain clarity and insight that helps you make more informed choices moving forward. When you allow yourself to wait for the perfect moment, you delay the learning process and keep yourself from growing. Taking action also allows you to build resilience. When you act, you will inevitably encounter challenges, obstacles, and moments of doubt. But these experiences are what teach you how to adapt, how to solve problems, and how to keep going when things get tough. Without action, you miss out on these valuable learning experiences. Failure, setbacks, and mistakes are all part of the process, but they are also the stepping stones that lead to success. If you're not willing to take action, you won't give yourself the chance to learn from these challenges. By stepping into the unknown and committing to action, you strengthen your resilience and become better equipped to face future obstacles. Another key reason to take action now is that it provides you with immediate feedback. When you're thinking about something or planning, you're working with theories and assumptions. But once you start taking action, you begin to see what works and what doesn't in real time. This feedback allows you to adjust your approach, refine your strategies, and course correct as needed. Action gives you the information you need to move forward with greater precision. It's through taking action that you gather the experience and insights necessary to make smarter decisions down the road. The fear of making mistakes or failing often holds people back from taking action. But this fear is a barrier that must be overcome. Mistakes are not the end of the road. They are part of the process of growth. Every time you take action, you give yourself the chance to improve, to pivot, and to refine your approach. Inaction, on the other hand, keeps you stuck in a cycle of fear and uncertainty. When you take action, you free yourself from the paralysis of overthinking and open the door to new opportunities. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes to move, but once you start, it becomes easier to continue. One of the biggest misconceptions about action is that it has to be perfect from the start. Perfection is an illusion, and the pursuit of it often leads to procrastination. What matters is progress. The key is to start where you are with what you have and take steps in the direction of your goals. Even if your first attempt isn't perfect, it's still progress. And with each subsequent effort, you get closer to refining your skills, achieving your goals, and becoming the person you're meant to be. In the end, the most successful people are not those who have the perfect plan or all the answers, but those who are willing to take action despite uncertainty. They understand that waiting for the ideal circumstances can lead to a life of missed opportunities. They act now with what they have and trust that the steps they take today will lead them to where they want to be tomorrow. So stop waiting for the right moment and take action. You'll learn along the way, adapt, and eventually you'll find yourself closer to the life you've always envisioned.